Welcome to Alternating, where we're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm your host, Robert Jarasinski. Across from me is my wife, Carrie Jarasinski. This episode, we're talking about our top 5 presidential movies. But really what I'm kind of excited about, and then also not excited about, is the fact that tomorrow is Daylight Savings Time. So
it's tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow already. We earn back 1 hour. I looked forward to this as a kid. Not so much now.
I've always struggled with this. So just do in 5 seconds, explain to me, are we going to be able to sleep more? Are we going to wake up more rested or less rested?
I feel like we do this twice a year. And we do this, we have this discussion.
Is this the good one or bad one, though?
That's what I've come to realize as a parent. I don't think there are good or bad ones, because especially a parent who has kids of our age. So the way it works with daylight savings is we will be turning our clocks
falling back
1 hour. So we're going back in time.
All right. So our kids wake up at 6 o'clock every friggin' day. Is it going to feel like I'm waking up at 5 or 7 tomorrow?
So if our kids' internal bodies feel like it's 6,
the number.
When we not right, but it's important to think this through this way. So they will wake up at 6 for themselves. On the clock, it'll say 5.
Oh, damn.
So that's what I'm saying. So we were having this discussion a little bit with your sister, and she was adamant that there's some sort of benefit to this. And that's, for me, that is not a benefit.
So the clock's going to say 5 tomorrow.
It's going to say 5.
It's hard.
So in normal circumstances, as an adult, you're like, oh, I don't have to be anywhere.
Oh, right.
I don't have to be anywhere till 9. Oh, and I've got 4 more hours to sleep.
I don't know what adults.
This is not beneficial for us.
Got it.
It makes our day longer.
The way that you just said that, it just clicked.
Yeah, but it goes the same way, the reverse way. There is no real benefit because they don't, at kids our age, they don't realize oh, I have more time to sleep.
Yeah.
They want to be up, so they're up. It's going to be what it is.
Good thing it's your morning tomorrow.
It is my morning. Carrie and I do switch off morning. So I appreciate the extra 10 minutes I had before I had to go get my hair cut early in the morning. Why I scheduled an early appointment on my day to sleep in, I'll never know.
It's called poor planning. Yeah.
Let's get into this. Let's go to our Worth Mentioning segment. What is the Worth Mentioning segment of the movies we've seen since the last episode? Which are the ones we want to talk about most? They could be great movies. They could be terrible movies. We share them with you worst to first. And we might even decide not to share one and plan to wreck it to the other person. Gary, how many movies have you seen since our last episode?
I feel like you kind of know it's really a small number based on the events.
Why is it small? Mine's a huge number. I've put up a massive 13 movies in 3 weeks. 13 movies.
I feel a lot of animosity for you right now, despite the house clean that you did earlier today. Based on the fact that I know would you say you've seen 14?
13.
13 movies. So I'm not even going to tell you the number that I've seen. I'm just going to go through my movies and we're going to talk about it.
Did you not have a lot of? I found myself having a lot of time last 3 weeks. I've been traveling.
You baiting
pretty
me
much
for
every week the last 3 weeks.
The fact that I'm here right now after you've been traveling for 3 weeks, and I've pretty much been a single parent for
it's not like I took a vacation on a cruise or oh wait, no, I did go on a cruise for work. So yes,
really
that
feel
was
like
true.
Mockery is the way to go right now.
So a lot of movies in my downtime. Does it make you feel any better that I tried not to enjoy myself? Like seriously, I locked myself in a room for all of these trips and did my best to just out of guilt.
Were you sad that I wasn't there with you?
No, I'm one of these people who I don't enjoy traveling alone, or not alone because I wasn't alone. I had work people kind of with me, not that I work with directly, just kind of clients and things like that.
Prostitutes,
hookers. I had some hookers with me. No, getting them on the ship would be tough on the cruise ship, but. No, I prefer sharing experiences with people. So like seeing a great sunset or seeing Alaska, which I got a chance to see Alaska as well. It's breathtaking.
Oh, yeah.
No, I know. Woe is me. Woe is me. I know.
I had to see Alaska alone. Yeah. You know what I was doing that whole time?
What?
I was dealing with sick kids here by myself.
Yeah.
Rob's parents were here with me by myself.
Carrie was supposed to join me on this epic cruise, and Abby, 3 a.m., our oldest daughter, 5 years old, got croup and had this
an
terrible,
hour before the trip.
Yeah, we woke up at 3 a.m. to her. We were planning on waking up at 3:30 a.m. to catch her flight, and Carrie, like the champ you are, took one for the team and stayed behind and took care of Abby and my parents.
I just want to throw this out there though, and I don't really want to get into it in too much depth, but I don't ever really feel like there was an offering where really I had a choice. You weren't ever like, hey, could be me. You could go to Mexico and I'll stay back.
So you would go and perform my work function?
Well, I think that was the alternative. I know what you do. I think I could do it.
You think you could do it?
I could
All
be
right.
like, let me tell you about some credit cards. Like, I could pull it
off.
You
basically covered. That is yeah. Everybody has now sat through my skill set.
So your speech. So
no, 13 movies. Really happy. Kind of back on track. I'm actually at 169. I had committed at the beginning of the year that I would watch 200 movies. I'm at 169. 31 movies to go, which equates to little more than one movie every 2 days. I think I can try to do it. I just need a couple more work trips, which aren't on the horizon.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this old school style
in your real life.
Since I'm letting you know right now, I'm saying no overlap just because.
Yeah,
I'm
going to
so
say
many
no overlap too,
from.
because wait till you hear my list. And I would like to call out. I'm going to just say this before we even lead into this whole business. I don't want any criticism. I just want you to say awesome to all of my movies.
It's going to be everything you do.
I want
awesome.
No judgment.
All right, what do you have for us?
Because I had to scrape this path.
Hopefully not the bottom.
I had to do some magic to get some movies here today
time?
For you. So.
All right, what do you have?
So I'm going to go with my number third, worth mentioning this past few weeks, it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
What? What? I don't even understand. At least it's fitting for the holiday season.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Is this something you saw by yourself? Please.
No, I watched it with both of the kids.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
You're counting this towards your quota. I guess it makes sense. That's a good flick.
Yeah. So I picked it up one night. It was one of those nights where I was just done. I was like super over it. Alice was super, super annoying. No, I hate to say that, but she's just like super whiny. Abby was like asking for her fourth dessert, and I just had it. So anyway, turn on the TV. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown is on. And I was like, all of a sudden, it was like, all of my annoyance, all of my anger, it's like movie Xanax. It all went away. As soon as Charlie Brown was on,
take me back, because honestly, it's been a while.
Let me take you
back.
I've
seen it.
It's the whole. I think it's 1960s. I think I think it's a movie back from the 1960s, but it's directed by Bill Melendez and obviously written by Charles Schultz. But it's the holiday series for Charlie Brown, so it's the whole Peanuts gang celebrates Halloween, and Linus is on the lookout and the wait for the Great Pumpkin, and they're waiting for, and it gets an 8.2 on IMDb. It's a movie classic. Again, like I said, all of my stresses melted away.
Kids
and
were
kids
glued
both
to the screen.
That was the other magical thing. It was the same thing for them. Everyone stopped whining. Everyone just sort of started drooling, myself included, and just started watching them.
What did people do before TVs with kids?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
And we laid there on the couch, all three of us on the same exact couch, one kid under each arm, and watched the whole movie.
Isn't it amazing though, a movie from the 60s, cartoon, what have you, whatever it is, that it can be so transcendent to our our kids' generation with all of the fast cuts and super animation 3D.
Yeah.
Yet something about a movie like that can still hold its own water with our kids and with a lot of people's kids. It is truly a classic
and nostalgic, and it was just awesome. I felt better, and that was my number 3.
All right, good one. I saw something new. I saw something pretty interesting. I think you might like this one, Care. This one was called Man vs. Snake: The Long and Twisted Tale of Nibbler from 2015.
I don't think I would love that. Did you say I would like that?
Yes, you would like it. Are you familiar with the video game Nibbler?
No,
that's okay.
I actually don't even really like the word nibble. If you,
is it one of those words like moist
that
creeps you out?
It's worse than moist.
What's the most normal word that bothers you?
Nibble.
So we've reached the apex. Okay.
So if you could do it to change the word to chew or something.
I'm going to call this one Man vs. Snake, just for simplicity.
Thank you.
2015's Man vs. Snake, hour 32 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.1. Rotten Tomatoes, a perfect score, 100%. Starring Tim McVeigh. It's a documentary about a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played Snake on your mobile phone?
You mean the worm?
The worm, snake,
Yeah.
whatever, like
Yeah.
the tail grows as you
Love
continue.
that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
It originally came from the game Nibbler, which is a stand-up arcade style game back from the 80s, early 80s, Pac-Man-esque kind of era.
Like the mindless game.
Mindless
Yeah.
game. So what was special about this game in 1984, when the record was set, it was the first game to go to 1 billion points. So we weren't talking, Pac-Man went up to a million or 99,999,999, and then when it flipped back over to zero. No game went to 1 billion points. So that's kind of what made it special. But yeah, it's basically the Snake game, and it's not a really super hard game.
No.
But the challenge is everybody wanted that 1 billion points. So in 1984, this young man at the time, Tim McVeigh, which I feel bad that is his name.
I was going to say that's a rough one.
Yeah, well then, it's tough to be named after a terrorist, an American terrorist, or share the same name as an American terrorist. So, do you remember the movie King of Kong?
Yeah.
So it is very much in the
the competition.
Yeah, very competitive. It's about competitive twin galaxies. A lot of the same characters pop up. Billy Mitchell from King of Kong, kind of the antagonist.
So it's a documentary?
It's a documentary style movie following this guy, Tim McVeigh, where he kind of peaked in 1984. He lived in the same city where Twin Galaxies, which is kind of the record keepers of arcade records, that's where they were born. It's in the city of Ottumwa, Iowa, kind of middle of nowhere, but this arcade here. Local boy goes to the arcade during this competition, and he marathons it. I'm about to embark on a marathon that'll probably take me 4 to 5 hours. This kid in 1984 sat in front of the game and played it for over 2 days straight to get to that sacred 1 billion points. And he became a local legend. That's kind of where he peaked. So the documentary kind of picks up more recent history, and there's some controversy. There apparently may have been someone who broke his record, and he hasn't really done too much more with his life since that moment in 1984.
Well, I mean, once you've done that, what else do you have? You know?
And once he finds out about it, it kind of calls into question. So he goes on this kind of Rocky style like mission to try to take back the record and set things right. And he goes through a couple things. It's actually a very compelling story. It's not as good as King of Kong because King of Kong had the more kind of antagonist, like good versus evil.
That long-haired dude,
the
right?
long-haired Billy Mitchell, who's very present in this movie as well too.
Interesting. He's got to be old now, right?
No, because the King of Kong was pretty new too. And that's the thing is a lot of people say this is like, oh, this is a ripoff of King of Kong. This actually was started being documented before that movie began into production. So if you like King of Kong, if you like video games, if you like documentaries, this is a really compelling one, and you want to see how it ends. Does he reach his goal? Is he able to take back that 1 billion points? Because we're talking people about sitting in front of a video game for 2, 3, maybe 4 days straight.
So what does something like that look like from a bio standpoint?
Good question, right?
Right?
And it is very much addressed and very much part of strategy.
Yeah.
The goal is you're able to, if you perform well, to like increase your lives.
Okay.
So the goal is to try to get a lot of lives so that you can step away from the game for a few minutes, go to the restroom, eat a snack,
Okay.
Or I guess you would need a snack, but yeah, really go
So
to
you
the restroom.
lose a couple lives while you have to go to the bathroom.
Right, you kind of
okay.
know how many lives 15 minutes will take because it's very much a kind of algorithm of deduction of lives. So like, oh, I've got 99 lives.
So intense.
I've got about 15 minutes. I'm gonna go shut my eyes or go to the restroom for 5 and come back and then build it up. I can't imagine doing this. I can't imagine doing anything for
So it's
for
not
more
on
than
your
a day.
bucket list?
Not on my bucket list
All right.
to do.
Good to know.
I would like to say before we move on, I know we've already eaten a lot of time. I don't think many of our listeners know. By the way, this is streaming on Netflix, so no excuse, folks. Check it out. I would recommend this movie since it's streaming. I wouldn't pay for it, but since it's streaming, go for it. Do it. Check it out. Don't know many people know that I'm quite the video game connoisseur myself.
Oh, here we go. I thought we were going to make it past.
Not quite a world record holder, but 4th place at one point in the world for a video game called Altered Beast. For Valentine's Day, Carrie let me go to this underground retrocade, and I sat there and
I let you go. I
let me
went
go.
with you.
Oh yeah, you went with. Oh yeah, but
Oh, yeah, you were
for
there?
Valentine's
Oh,
Day.
right,
What I'm saying
yeah.
is, you let me go for Valentine's Day. This was like your gift to me, was I could go to this retrograde, and I made you proud. I set a world record for 4th place. I think I've dropped since then, since to 12th, but for a moment I held some glory.
Yeah, I was really supportive
for
while I
Altered
was
Beast.
hiding in the corner in that separate room
My
that
picture-
had that Nintendo.
My picture went up on the Wall of Fame.
That's
It was
true.
pretty sweet. All right, what's next for you?
We're really proud of you, Rob.
Thank
Next for me, one that I really want to tell a portion of the listeners about, maybe everybody, is, do you have this one maybe, is the 2016 movie Bad Moms.
So, yeah, we just saw this kind of.
Is it on yours?
No, it's not on mine, because I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about it. And I
Because
saw
you knew
so
I
many
only
movies.
saw 2 movies, 2.5 movies.
It's also pity.
Is that
yes.
what it is?
Pity played
Yeah,
into it.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Directed by and written by John Lucas and Scott Moore. Stars Mila Kunis, Katherine Hahn, Kristen Bell, Christina Applegate, a few more. It's a long, long list of lady actresses. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's sort of the life and the lifestyle of these, is it middle school moms or high school?
Oh, good question. Middle school.
Middle
Right?
school moms.
I feel that's right.
So when 3 overworked and underappreciated moms are pushed sort of beyond their limits, they ditch their conventional responsibilities for a jolt of long overdue freedom, fun, and self-indulgence. It gets a 6.6 on IMDb. We did purchase this on Amazon to watch. It was everything I expected that it would be in one of those mom comedic movies in terms of the jokes that they would play on. I mean, it was obviously a hyperbole of a lot of mom feelings. Like, I think you can identify with the feelings, but it was definitely the hyperbole of the way that a lot of moms are.
And isn't it really like an underserved market? Like, as far as how many movies really come out for that demographic? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it allows you to laugh at
Like
yourself.
Bridesmaids, like all those.
Yeah, but
it's that
it's
series.
been a recent
it's that series.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm glad that it is. I think it is. I mean, it did really well in theaters. I think it was probably top
think
10 at the box office.
Every
for the
single
summer.
mother and potentially parent, I don't want to just stereotype that it's just the lady moms, there could be the dad moms out there, can identify with these feelings. Like the feelings of, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work,
I'm failing
I'm
someone.
failing somebody or someone somehow in some way.
Work, child, husband,
somebody's slipping.
self.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's usually yourself. Like, I mean, you're looking at me right now. Like, I'm clearly failing myself. I have no makeup today and I air dried my hair.
I'm trying not to look at you is
I
what
mean,
I'm trying
is that
to
a
do.
compliment? Oh, no.
Because I'm basking in your glow.
So, it was a fun watch. It was a fun watch. For me, the one downside, and I don't know if you'd agree with this, I didn't actually love Mila Kunis as the character that she played. I didn't buy her as that character. Like, I wish they had chosen like a McCarthy,
Melissa
McCarthy, or like just some like a character that I
It's
think
funny
is
you say
funnier.
that.
I don't
It's funny
actually
you say
find
that.
her to be funny.
I think she was trying to play the straight person more, and the characters surrounding her were supposed to add to the comedy. But that being said, it's funny you bring that up. I was just thinking to myself how I like this better than Ghostbusters, which was an all kind of female cast, and
Yeah.
I preferred this. I would still say I would not have paid money to go see this in theaters. I think you should
I would have seen this with my girlfriends in
Yes,
theaters.
for that
Yeah.
for that reason exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I think it would resonate with people who identify with those feelings. Like, I look at those. Yeah, I look at some of those relationships. I don't know. Hopefully that's not our relationship and the things that they're
you're
dealing
definitely
with. Definitely the feelings of inadequacy. I could see that every person could potentially have.
Right. Again, I said it's a hyperbole on
right.
all of those feelings. I hope for
so
most
to
people.
go to have a venue and a forum where you can have that on display, absolutely pay for it. I wouldn't have paid for it. It's a good one for me to like pay for streaming as someone as a guy who's like doesn't identify with all of those
Did
things.
it make
but
you
I
want to
can,
work harder
laugh.
as a dad when you watched it?
Yeah, but yeah, it makes me want other dads to work harder. I
did
feel like
notice
I'm pulling my own.
You think so?
Yeah.
I did put
I
both
did learn
kids to
some
bed
tips
tonight.
though.
Do you remember that?
Yes, you did do that. I did learn some tips of like what I could potentially be getting away with, because there are a lot of lazy dads out there.
There are a lot of lazy
based
dads.
on what this movie is trying to portray.
You gotta step it up.
But
yeah.
not only that, the whole PTA thing, that was funny that they played that up. The perfect moms.
Yeah.
And in society, I think there is this illusion that there is perfection in families, in spouses, and partners.
Yeah.
And I
Everyone's
think
a hot mess. I think that's the
everybody
message,
is,
right?
but in our world today with Facebook and social media, you're sharing bits and pieces of highs. And yeah, there is probably this feeling like, oh wow, like their life is perfect, when in reality most people's lives are not perfect, and
Right.
they have flaws. And I think it gives you a sense of anxiety sometimes when you're exposed to all of this
Agreed.
quote unquote perfection. So it's nice, this movie totally hits on all of that,
Yeah.
and kind of dispels it and say, hey, it's okay not being perfect, and
Right.
embrace that.
Right. It's almost better. You can connect better with your kids when you're not trying so hard to make sure that, like, you know, they have the properly portioned meals and everything has a carb and a starch and whatever,
Gluten-free, and
whatever.
how we all strive for this,
You're
like,
a little
unattainable.
bit Christina
I'm a
Applegate.
little bit the PTA mom. Yeah, well casted Christina Applegate
Yeah.
in that
She did a good job.
role. Kristen Bell makes an appearance
yeah.
as well too. And what was interesting is I fell asleep right at the end, last act, so I had to rewatch it. We got to the credits.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I actually thought that the post credits was the highlight for me.
It was awesome.
That was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
So worth sitting through all the way to the end, folks.
Yeah.
If
you do watch
check
it,
this
stay
out
through the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd recommend it.
Good choice. One of the many movies that I saw on the cruise was a movie called Hail Caesar. Hail Caesar.
I saw this in your alternate ending feed.
Good.
And you got a lot of comments on it.
Yeah, a lot of comments. A lot of people
What's the
probably
scoop on
had
it?
seen this. Well, the reason why is it's the latest entry by Joel and Ethan Cohen, who do just great work. This one gets 6.4 on IMDb, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll probably see anything that Joel and Ethan put out because I'm so confident in what they do. So movies that they've done in the past is No Country for Old Men, which I know, not so
my
much for
fave.
you. Big Lebowski, I don't know what your feelings on that are.
Never seen it.
Fargo, Inside Llewyn Davis,
Liked Fargo.
Bridge of Spies is what they wrote. They did not direct that. Basically, this movie, Hail Caesar, is about a Hollywood fixer in the 1950s, working to kind of keep stars in line and kind of out of issues. So when there's a problem, this guy goes and he fixes them. He's the head of the studio. Eddie Mannix, played by Josh Brolin, actually from lead character from No Country for Old Men.
Goonies.
And the Goonies. Yes, absolutely. Big brother from the Goonies. And the Coens have a particular feel for their movies. And this had it. It was amusing because it was a lot of disjointed stories. Basically what happens is the star of their latest production in the 1950s was the golden age of Hollywood. You had all of your big bright stars. Everybody was kind of under contract with the studio. So for years, like you would, for lifetime contracts, like you would be kind of chained to the studio. So their big star for their big production, kind of think Ben-Hur or, one of these huge productions from the 1950s, the big star goes missing. And Eddie Mannix is on the case as the head of the studio to figure out what happened. Meanwhile, he's also putting out fires amongst other situations. It's amusing.
Is it a comedy?
It's a comedy,
Oh, okay.
but with like a little bit of like other stuff going on. Very much a Coen Brothers movie. Had the Coen Brothers feel. It was just too disjointed, and it had the quirkiness that I like. But I don't know, it was kind of like, there were certain scenes that were really good and set pieces that were just amazing. Like there's this whole swimming sequence, like the whole coordinated, synchronized swimming. It was just beautiful to watch. There was a scene where, and this is what they did in Hollywood, like in the 50s, they would take someone who was really good in one genre and like try to turn them into a star, like manufacture a star. So what they did in this scene was they took this kind of cowboy, hardcore cowboy guy, and we're like, oh, you're going to go do dramas now. He's like, all right, mister, I'll go do some dramas. And then they put him into this period piece, Pride and Prejudice kind of style movie, and he has to speak eloquently. And there's a lot of funny moments, but altogether, like it didn't really work for me. Another one where I probably wouldn't have paid money to go see it in theater. I don't think I'd pay money for it for streaming, or for like Amazon or rental.
Find it if it's free.
Find it if it's free. Be a completionist with the Coens. Our friends and listeners, Laura Hose said, found it amazing. The particular scene where there was a rabbi, priest, minister, and Orthodox priest. Yes, again, funny scene. Kelly Barnes said quirky but funny. Dwayne Jarrell, not their best, but thoroughly enjoyed it. I agree it's not their best. I don't know if I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then My soulmate in movies, Constance Wozniak.
It's Connie.
Connie. I should probably call her by my
Especially
pet name.
if she's your soulmate.
She is my movie soulmate.
Okay.
An interesting twist, but not our favorite of their films. I kind of feel the same way. So that was my next one on worth mentioning.
All
How
right.
about what's next for you?
So I did something for my number one. I watched a movie by myself
All right.
while you were gone.
Another like Charlie Brown Christmas special.
No, I was like determined to find one that was going to be good because I didn't want to totally embarrass
Look at
myself.
you working hard.
Working hard every day. So I picked up a 2014 movie. I didn't actually even have any clue what it was about. I just saw that it was free on Prime, and I clicked on it
Okay.
because I just literally wanted a movie, and it was Citizen 4.
I've been wanting to see this documentary,
you?
right?
It
About
was a documentary.
Edward Snowden.
Well, spoiler.
Okay.
Thanks.
But you don't find out to the end of the documentary it's about Edward
It's going to
Snowden.
be in my reveal, my plot reveal. Thanks a lot. Well, that was what I saw. The movie about Ed Snowden.
And
That's it. It was good.
that's what you got for us?
I liked it. So it was unexpected, like I said. I thought maybe it was going to be something like Citizen 13. Or what was that movie? Bug movie.
Citizen 13? Oh, District 9?
District 9. I don't
Why did you think that?
know. There was a number in the title. I don't know. I just didn't know.
Number. Must be about aliens.
It's about bug aliens.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. It's directed by Laura Poitras. Written by. It's just a documentary, so it's not really written by anybody.
Written by the facts.
Written by the people. It stars Edward Snowden, Glenn Greenwald, William Bin.
Well, they
William
had
Binney.
like access to Edward Snowden. That's what makes
They
this
did.
documentary so special.
Well, that's why I was
right?
so surprised. So admittedly, I am not a news junkie, and so if anything, the opposite. Like I stay away from it because most of it's really depressing to me. So, in this particular case, I knew who he was, and I sort of had like a general understanding of what he had done, like that he was, in trouble for leaking documents and leaking information, government information.
Well, basically that the government was spying on its citizens.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's
illegally,
where it gets to, and it goes back to what I really liked about it was it sets it up with like the front end, like what the actual issue is, and so they talk about how they provide tons of statistics. You love this. Love this movie.
I do like numbers.
Yeah, you love the numbers. So I'm totally thinking about you. I was watching it, but tons of stats on the millions and millions and records that are tracked every day through our government, through our calls, our texts, our messages, our emails, like all the things. Like the numbers are crazy and staggering, like in the millions and millions and millions. And so it starts off with a lot of those facts, and it's very, it has a lot of like clips and pieces from, presidential speeches and government speeches around saying like, you have them under oath. Like, yes, you're under oath. No, we have never done this. So they have like all of the clips of like
Nice.
these people from the NRA saying that. NRA.
No,
National-
NSA.
NSA, thank
Yeah.
you. Not from
NRA's
the-
probably saying
They're
it
probably
too.
in there too.
Yeah.
But the NSA saying, no, we're never doing any of these things. And then they set it up perfectly then where it leads into you meet this Edward Snowden. And so the rest of the documentary is face-to-face, him in a hotel room, him talking about his experiences. And the movie really, really brings you wherever you fall on the spectrum of what he has or hasn't done, or the position that you would take on whether or not like you agree with him because of what
You feel like any good
It's on-
documentary should be objective. Like, do you feel like it's objective in that you made your own?
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel
Okay.
like it actually built a stronger case. Like you built a relationship with Edward Snowden so that you definitely felt more compelled to be like his advocate is how I felt. But that was fine for me.
I don't know a lot of people outside of government who aren't like a little bit
really?
pro Snowden.
Pro Snowden. Okay.
I don't know. I don't have enough friends on the other side
Yeah.
of that equation. But kind of when I talk to people about this, like, I guess who wouldn't want to have known? Like, is he a traitor or is he?
Well,
a
and
hero,
that was
you know?
exactly the thing. Like he's called a hero, he's called a whistleblower, he's called a traitor. Like where people fall in that spectrum, I think the documentary definitely leads you a certain way.
Because then, like, the whole fact is, like, so, and what I do too is, like, we promote whistleblowing. Like, that's a big deal for the industry that I work in. It's important to shed light on things that you feel are not right. So it is strange that blowing the whistle in this case has it didn't work out for him. Like,
well, they said it was that he was under. They were going after him. The Department of Justice was going after him for the theft of government property. So it was that.
But that's the only way you.
I'm just saying.
No, I don't know. I'm with you, but it's like. Well, we want you to whistleblow if there's anything wrong.
Unless it's something really
wrong. But unless it's about us.
Right.
Then we'd rather
you kind of keep it to yourself.
And don't take anything with you that might help your case.
Right.
So that
you can take the pens and the posties, but not the documents that say that we've been spying
I'm
on
intrigued
you.
by this. I've heard it's a good documentary.
I definitely recommend you seeing it for sure.
Okay.
If you're a data person and or a documentary person.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah. And that's the thing.
And did you leave feeling more informed about, because like you said, you didn't know much about Snowden.
I did.
Okay.
And I left feeling very sorry for him personally. Like he had to leave his relationships. He's still in Russia.
Yeah.
He had to leave his relationship. He had like a 10-year girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, she's older than 10. She had a 10-year-long relationship. Yeah. That would be weird. Maybe he's in different trouble. But
do you?
He had to leave all that behind.
Does it make you want to see the dramatic film by Oliver Stone?
The Snowden.
Yeah, it's played by Joseph.
Yeah, it probably does.
Yeah, I want to see that too. Do you? I want. Maybe that's the order I'll see it in.
See the
Citizen 4
first, yeah.
And then do it. And you said it's streaming?
It's streaming.
On Amazon, folks.
Amazon.
Yeah. All right, cool. Good pick. Unfortunately, not streaming on Amazon, but worth seeing, I think. Again, that's why I put it here last to talk about. Star Trek Beyond, 2016 Star Trek Beyond. I've now completed the latest remakes of, not remakes, but I guess reboots of Star Trek. 2 hours, 2 minutes. IMDb gives it 7.2. Rotten Tomatoes 84%, directed by Justin Lin of Fast and Furious fame, written by a few folks, but also Simon Pegg, who we like. We like Simon Pegg. Yeah, so he brought his little bit of kind of comedy and spin to it, starring the same cast of characters we've seen in all the Star Trek reboots: Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Carl Urban, Simon Pegg, Idris Elba as the bad guy, Zoe Saldana, the late great Anton Yelchin, which it was really sad. Seeing Anton.
Had he completed the movie before he passed?
Yeah. His last movie, I think, was actually
Green Room.
Thank you. Whoa, good save, because I was blanking on it. Green Room, but I think this one kind of came out after Green Room. Sophia Botella and John Cho as the George Takei character, Sulu. So the synopsis of this third installment of the reboot is the USS Enterprise crew explores the furthest reaches of uncharted space when they encounter. It's basically the same. I don't even know why I'm reading this.
I don't know either.
It's the same old story. They're going further than man has ever gone before or anybody's ever gone before, and they discover a new threat. And this threat is going to be worse than the last, and it creates challenges. The difference was, if I'm looking at all three reboots recently, the first one is still stands highest for me, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek reboot. The second one I enjoyed. This one is probably somewhere a little bit above that. I did enjoy it. It focuses more on relationships, and it is a little bit more action-y than the J.J. Abrams, and that's Justin Lin's Fast and Furious background. You'll notice like a lot of nods to Fast and Furious and a lot of kind of similar visual stylings that Justin Lin brings. So it's a space action movie with some heart. And I think Simon Pegg really tried to bring that in there. If you're looking for, traditional Star Trek original series or Star Trek Next Generation TV series, kind of like thinking through problems, not just solving everything with action, this is not necessarily going to be your movie, but this is like a traditional good summer blockbuster. Like, for the movies that I've seen this year, by the way, been kind of a down year. Where are all the great movies? I haven't seen a lot of great movies. This is probably one of the better movies that I've seen this year, and it kept me interested. Probably something I would have liked to have seen because it's a spectacle on the big screen. I would have paid money to see it on the big screen. It cost $185 million to make, only has grossed $156 domestically, from what I understand. So,
was it better than Hello, My Name is Doris?
Yes, so much more.
Oh.
So much more.
When you're talking about seeing good movies.
Some of its limitations, like I wish it would have developed the antagonist a little bit better. Some of it's just too on the nose as far as just being overt in what they're trying to really say underneath everything.
Yeah.
But it deals with like some real struggles that I imagine someone in these positions, and it pairs people up to work together and breaks it up into separate kind of like scenes. So you have Captain Kirk working with Anton Yelchin. You have Bones, Carl Urban's character, working with Spock. And there are some funny little moments. And the whole theme that's behind it to me is hey, we're better as a team than we are individually. Like, it is about the team.
Whose team would you have been on if you could have picked?
What do you mean, team what?
You said they broke off into teams.
Oh, in the groupings?
Yeah.
Who would I have paired up well with? Well, I'm probably more like the Captain Kirk character.
I mean, obviously.
Obviously. So I guess I would have paired
really
with Anton Yelchin's character then in that case.
All right. All right.
Scotty. Or wait, no, that's not Scotty. Simon Pegg was Scotty. Although it would be pretty sweet working with Scotty because he's pretty funny.
And he's funny.
So yeah, that's what I've seen. I also I have a couple of meh movies. I'll just run through the list. C.T. Fletcher, My Magnificent Obsession. About a weightlifter, if you like that. It's streaming right now. Bad Moms, I give it a meh. You know, we paid for it. Would I have paid for it again? I think I probably would have. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. Boy, Zac Efron and the guy from Workaholics, I'm blanking on his name right now. Brad Newman, my colleague, watched this as well. He kind of said, like, nothing memorable from it.
Yeah.
Like, Aubrey Plaza ruins movies for me, unfortunately. Sorry, Aubrey. Free State of Jones, about a real situation. I know you saw Birth of a Nation last episode. This is a little bit less sounding like it was not as dramatic from a like tense scene, but a really interesting story about how in the South during the Civil War that this group basically seceded from the South, and they're like, now we want to be free like the North, and they created their free state. Miles Ahead, starring and directed by this other movie.
You're gonna go through them all.
I'm gonna go through them all. Don Cheadle, good directorial debut about Miles. Oh man, why am I blanking on his name? No, not Miles Teller. That's the actor.
Really?
Miles Davis. Miles Davis.
I don't even know where that came from.
The famous jazz musician. I did not know about his dark side. He had dark side. Pop Star Never Stop Stopping. I give that a meh as well. And super disappointing, Independence Day Resurgence. My goodness, how far we have fallen in the 20 years or whatever since that great movie. And then I say skip on The Boss. You're talking about Melissa McCarthy. She made a movie with Kristen Bell called The Boss. Skip it, avoid it. My goodness, never will get that time back. Remember, you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alltrainingpod.com. That's alltrainingpod.com. Before we head to our break, I want to thank all our listeners who support the show and make Amazon purchases through our site. Doing it is easy. Just go to our website, alltrainingpod.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last show, Carrie, here are the things that were purchased.
Hit me.
Sort of like whip, like...
Cool Whip?
Tussle Whip? No, like I'm assuming like some sort of the brand name is Redken, like a whip.
That's hair cream.
Oh. That explains
hair.
Explains why they give the ounceage. It's 3.4 ounces. I was like, that's a really light whip to hit
relative
people with.
to all of your other whips. That
I was thinking Indiana Jones. I don't know. We've got the new posters up. I figured like something, and then maybe you know what this is? Keratase women's resistant, some sort of anti-user treatment. I'm not really sure what that is.
I don't know, but it sounds nice.
Well, thank you all for whatever these things are. Thank you guys for your purchases. When we get back, our top 5 presidential movies. Welcome back to Alternating, where we're going to be talking about our top 5 presidential movies. Care, what is your definition criteria for presidential movies?
You always throw this to me, and
that is the format of the show.
That is the format. I realize I could think about revising that. So this one will follow the same format as the top 5 witch movies, where...
Me too, actually.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, so no, wait, no, I'm reneging on what I just said because it's not true. For me, it's true in the sense I followed myself. I'm not following your poor.
Oh, right.
Poor choice.
All right. Keep it kind. So I went with the president has to be a first, like a primary, secondary, and or tertiary character.
Why?
Because I've only seen 5 movies with the president. So let me just back this up a second to be like, okay, so first I went with, in my mind, I was like, okay, Carrie, what movies do you love with that are presidential movies? I got to 3. Then I loosened it a bit and I was like, okay, Carrie, what movies have you seen with a president in it? And then I was like, oh, there's another one. So then I was at 4. Really struggled with the 5th. So then finally I was like, okay, Carrie, I Googled movies where they use the word president. I got my 5th.
That's what you were down to.
And I got my 5th.
Did you at least keep it in the United States? Did we do dictators? Did we do presidents of other countries?
I considered going to like fraternity presidents, and then I decided to be bigger than that, and I stuck with only United States presidents.
Well, at least we're halfway there. We're halfway there. The whole tertiary, it's mentioned
I've
in the
only
conversation.
literally
president.
seen 5 presidential movies ever in my life, which is weird.
Yeah, for me, I did the same thing that I did with witches as well, which top 5 witches, which I try to focus on top or presidential movies. So had to really feature a president, or the presidency, had to be the main aspect of the movie. And you can try to. There's probably one on my list where you might say, well, that doesn't. It's possible.
Yeah.
I will give that credence. You got more points to me. Not like I had a super point system, but you were weighted higher if you dealt more with the presidency. And then it just went back to I didn't look at IMDb ratings. I didn't look at ratings. I went on my own. What's my first instinct?
Right.
What's my feeling? Rank these. These are my favorite. And it was tough. I'll be honest. What was easy were my top 2 were actually pretty easy because they held something more sincere in my heart, a little dearer to me. The 3, 4, 5 were really tough, and I probably could have swapped them around and maybe even brought in some others outside of that. So
all right.
I will say all of them are good because they have an 85% Rotten Tomatoes average between all 5. So I'm bringing the heat.
That's nice for you, Rob.
All right. Any overlap? You think?
Yeah.
I think so.
At least 2.
I'm saying 2.
I'm gonna say 2. Because if you don't have 2 that overlap,
2.
you're just wrong.
2
is what I'm gonna lay out there.
I think 2. And all right. Let's see where we're at. What's number 5 for you?
Number 5, don't have to talk too much about because I've already talked about it. Number 5 is the 2014 Citizen 4.
What?
I had to do it.
Where's the
President Obama talks a lot in it.
He speaks in the movie.
They have a lot of clips with him in there.
All right,
Let's go to your number 5.
My number 5. That's what you got,
man. I already set this up for you.
All right, so I guess
on where I was.
Let me think this through. The alternative was
no movie.
It was either no movie or you bringing a movie that you haven't seen.
Right.
Potentially.
And here was my other thing. I knew there were a lot. I fell asleep in Lincoln. Couldn't put that out there. And I was trying to be ethical about it because I knew I fell asleep at least 12 minutes into that movie. And I contemplated putting it anyway, but I didn't. And I put Citizen 4 because at least I watched the whole thing. And
Lincoln's a great movie. That just bores the hell out of me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for anyone who is offended by it. This is why I'm not a film critic. I'm sure the film critics love Lincoln and amazing performance by Daniel Day-Lewis. Do not disagree. Sally Field, amazing in Lincoln.
Very sleepy movie.
I'll say right now, does not make my list.
Good.
Because it is a procedural movie. But yeah, so I appreciate your honesty.
I'm always honest with you, Rob.
Well, thank you. Let's skip to my number 5. This one's a stretch. This is the one that's going to be a stretch.
More than Citizen 4.
Yeah, but I feel reinforced because one of our listeners, Kathy Clark, also had this on hers. It's Idiocracy. 2006 Idiocracy, hour 24 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.6. Rotten Tomatoes 74%. My lowest of my 5. Written and directed by Mike Judge, who familiar with developing Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill.
Oh, I'm familiar.
Starring Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, Dax Shepard. Private Joe Bowers, the definition of an average American, is selected by the Pentagon to be the guinea pig for a top-secret hibernation program. But they forget about him. He's forgotten. He awakes 500 years later in the future, and he discovers that society has kind of taken a turn for the worse, and you've basically got the lowest common denominators multiplying and procreating, creating kind of like a dumbed-down version. And he wakes up as...
Wait, what year does he wake up in?
500 years later.
But where does the starting point? Sorry.
The current time.
Oh, okay.
2006, let's say. So now he wakes up in 2500. He is now the smartest person alive by a lot.
Right.
And culture has kind of taken a turn for worse. And have you seen this movie? It sounds like you haven't.
No, it sounds like I haven't. No.
This bombed at the box office, and it is so smart and so relevant, I think, in today's
Is
world.
it like indie smart?
No,
kind
not.
of thing?
It's
No.
not indie smart. It is a Mike Judge
I don't know who Mike
comedy.
Judge is.
Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. We just talked about it.
Oh, well, I thought you meant like he had done other movies.
No, he does. No, yeah, he's done Extract, which was with Jason Bateman about
the honey movie?
Mia Kunis.
Or the-
honey.
Extract wasn't it about honey or like syrup?
That'd be vanilla, I believe, like vanilla
It
extract.
was some sort of condiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if extract is a condiment, but it is used in baking. But Mike Judge has a very, he's extremely funny, I think. This movie is silly, a little bit silly, but in retrospect, and this is why I think it's caught on to this kind of cult following, is it really does look like this could happen, where, genetically we are predisposed to procreate and based on things that do not benefit us from a mental standpoint. So look at our society, Care. What's happening today with like are people having kids older or younger these days?
Older,
right? All right. So, and the people who are more successful may not even be thinking about kids these days.
right?
So the idea is that the lowest common denominator is procreating, and procreating at a faster rate, that eventually society will kind of fall apart and you'll have, the jocks and whatever. And again, it plays on a lot of tropes and a lot of stereotypes, but it's kind of fun. It's fun.
And you can
it's
probably
funny.
but is it something where
Multiplied
you can follow
by-
the path where
Yeah.
you're like, that actually,
Sure.
on a broader sense, might
And
make sense?
where he takes it 500 years later of procreation and all of this kind of like dumbing down of society, we're now like, it's so funny. Where I know we'll get into like, movies like Air Force One, where there's a plane, Air Force One plane.
Will we get into Air Force
the
One?
president in this movie has like Air Force One mobile home kind of.
Right.
He's driving
A
around
tiny
in his
home?
RV. He's driving around in his RV,
Okay.
and it's just like, I don't know. It's so funny.
Right. Would I like? I bet I would like it.
You would really like it.
Yeah, I'll watch
Yeah.
it. When I was researching, I came across.
I
that
think
and thought
it's
I
a
would like
movie
it.
everybody needs to see, because I think you'll laugh. It's over the top, but it's also so poignant in what it's trying to say. It bombed though, but yeah, I like it a
I'll
lot.
check it out though. I really will.
Yeah, that's my number 5. Number 4 for you.
Number 4 is the 1996.
Let me see, 96.
Almost all of my favorite movies are from 1996.
I have a lot of 90s. I do not have a 96 on my list.
My Fellow Americans.
It's on my honorable mentions.
Is it?
Good for you. You've seen this.
I
then.
have seen
All
this.
right.
Mostly because I love the dynamic of Jack Lemmon and James Garner.
Yeah. Then this is a movie where you can see with your parents and feel
I did see it with
yes,
my parents.
and
Yeah.
You're getting something
My
out of
mom
it. They're
loved
getting
it.
something out of it.
Totally. My
Yeah.
dad loved it. My dad is James Garner. So he loves it. Like that sort of like dry, like just that comedic sense of humor. So
Good choice.
love it. Directed by Peter Segal, written by E. Jack Kaplan. 2 former U.S. presidents, who are sort of these hated rivals from both ends of the spectrum, join forces to expose this current corrupt president that puts them and sort of the country at risk. And it's a comedy. It's funny. It's the dynamic of the two that make the entire movie. And I remember it being one of those like belly laugh movies where there was something about the way that they interacted together that.
Yeah,
was
and I
hilarious.
think at the time Walter Matthau had passed away. I don't know if he passed away before Jack, or I think he had.
He did. Yeah.
I think he had, and like it took me back a little bit to the kind of Jack Lemmon and kind of exchanges and
Grumpy Old Men.
Grumpy Old Men kind of style of movies, but
So funny.
It's funny. I steal actually a line from this still. Like actually it's a fact that I didn't realize. I don't actually know if it's a fact, but in the movie I remember that James Garner or Jack Lemmon, I don't remember which one, says like compares to, hey, I was Time Magazine's Man of the Year. He's like, so was Hitler. And he says, not twice.
Oh.
Like, it's just good stuff like that. But like I had never
Like your delivery right now
yeah.
didn't make it
I did
very
not
funny,
do justice.
but
This is why we got to do clips.
you got to do clips.
We should have clips ready.
Well, let's put that on our list of
Yeah.
to-dos. Get clips. Of
Good like
people.
funny movie, good movie to see with your parents for sure.
Yeah, I loved it.
Number
Your
four for me, a movie that meant so much to me. This one, is a stretch as well. These last two are going to be stretches in the sense of tying to presidency. This one is about presidency. 1991's JFK. 3 hours and 9 minutes.
That's a really long movie.
Right. And I have ADHD, or I'm self-diagnosed for that. The fact that it held my attention the whole movie and got me interested to the point where I wrote like a thesis paper on some of the facts based on this movie. Like it really captivated me. In 1991,
yeah, you were like,
I was like 9 years old, and it
what
stuck
did you write
with
a
me
thesis for?
in high school, where I wrote a 10-page kind of paper on the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And that's what this deals with. It gets an 8.0 on IMDb, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, directed by Oliver Stone, who just did the Snowden movie, but also Platoon, Wall Street, Natural Born Killers, Any Given Sunday, starring Kevin Costner, Gary Oldman, and Jack Lemmon is also in this. It's loosely based on I don't want to say loosely. It's based on a New Orleans district attorney named James Garrison, who discovers there's more to the Kennedy assassination than the official story. Oliver Stone, the director, loves his conspiracy theories, and JFK is probably one of the biggest stories, and that potentially has a conspiracy theory tied to it, and probably one of the saddest moments in American history. Like, I can't think of anything more that probably shook a nation more than the JFK assassination. Like having the president in such a time where he was trying to unite a very divided country, where he had TV kind of more in the mainstream. This really, I think time stood still for sure for our country, for the world. When
what
JFK
year did that actually happen?
1963.
1963.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm right in that because I wrote my paper in
Yeah,
November. I believe it's even November. I don't remember the exact date.
For that kind of stuff.
Great movie. I can't even tell you how many great actors, Oscar award-winning actors, are in this movie. I won't go through the list beyond what I've already said.
Why were you questioning that it's presidential when the name is JFK?
Well, because it doesn't actually have anything to do with the presidency. So, I didn't know what your parameters were, so I kind of felt weird about.
It was pretty safe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, based on your parameters, I could have put in the Charlie Brown Christmas special again, or Great Pumpkin, and I'm like,
it was a presidential
it was president of the Glee Club, so it counted. Nominated for 8 Oscars. 1 for Best Editing, Best Cinematography. People, right now, if you have not seen this movie, it is available for on Prime, so free for Amazon Prime subscribers. Very much a procedural movie, goes through like interviews and things, but it builds tension really well, and it makes you start questioning. Like, I'm in on this conspiracy theory that it wasn't just Oswald, and there was more to it than that. And it builds a really good case. How much of it is factual, I don't know. Read my thesis paper if you'd like.
I'm sure it was good.
For the truth. But no, it was very good. Well,
Robert Jarsinski uncovers
the JFK assassination, the Zapruder
film.
Yeah, and it's Oliver Stone's favorite movie that he's done, and that says a lot because he's done some good work. That's my number 4. Number 3 for you.
Here's where we're going to start to overlap.
All right, let's see it. What do you got?
So here I struggled. I reworked. My top 3 were the 3 that I said I originally got to immediately. And it's what order do you put them into? And I don't really know. And it's hard for me for different reasons, and then just here we are.
I think we're going to line up on 1 and 2.
Probably so.
Is my feeling.
In a different order, probably.
No. That's what I'm telling you right now. I feel like I know you because you're my wife.
I don't really
and I know movies.
You know me. Yeah. If you had known me a little bit better, you wouldn't have given me the skimpy wine pour if you really knew me.
Well, I do know you, and I know what you're going to be if I would have poured you the tall boy that you were requesting during the break.
Touche.
Don't even bother coming back unless it's a tall boy. And I came back.
Unless it's the at-home pour.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 3, 1997.
I'm safe.
Air Force One.
Yes, I'm safe.
Is it your 3?
No, I'm safe in the sense that I called that we would match up on 1 and 2, and you did not say my 1 and 2.
But isn't your number 3 Air Force One?
I do not have Air Force One on my list.
Oh, well, that's because you're wrong. That's where you're wrong.
It's an honorable mention for me.
Get off my plane.
It meets all my criteria.
Oh my gosh.
But for some reason, it doesn't. I don't remember it.
Oh gosh.
And that is a testament to a great movie.
Fail,
it needs to sink in.
Maybe you didn't see it.
Perhaps I didn't see Gary Oldman.
He was on there. He was the Russian guy.
Ruski.
All right. So anyway, 1997, directed by Wolfgang Peterson, written by Andrew Marlowe. Stars, I didn't actually put who it stars, but it does star Harrison Ford.
Gary Oldman.
And
that's all you need to know.
Gary Oldman. And I could have told you that. His wife and daughter, who are people. The president of the U.S. goes to Moscow to give this stirring speech that's basically saying that we have the zero tolerance policy with respect to terrorism. Like, no, we won't give in to any sort of terrorism. And then on the flight home from the speech, the terrorists take over the Air Force One plane and take passengers hostage, including his wife and daughter. And then it's the plan that goes into place that they execute in order to have the president overtake the terrorists. And it's the dynamic of that what happens on the plane. Great movie, intense movie, Harrison Ford movie, which already ticks it up like 3 notches for me.
Well, it was like
it was awesome.
One of the few movies where, the president gets to be a badass.
He was a badass president.
Yeah.
Exactly. They didn't know that he was this Medal of Honor winner. And so much to their surprise, like, president's going to fight back. Like,
oh yeah, Glenn Close is in this. I was just looking this up.
Like he's not going to mess around. Like, and I love a story where like the person that you perceive as somebody that might be weak comes back and really they are the badass.
Holy crap, it made a ton of money.
It should.
Yeah.
For me, I watched it a lot of times.
Budget was $85 million, made $315.
It should.
That's amazing.
Like at least like 300 of those million were me.
I feel bad now that I didn't put this on here.
You should.
Yeah.
Everyone can rally around me now. Yeah.
Doesn't quite get the scores on the IMDb or the Rotten
Neither do the
Tomatoes.
other two that you have on your list.
No, they do. They do. They do, in fact.
Well, maybe they're not the same.
Good movie, Kara.
What's your number 3?
Hats off. Number 3 for me, again, probably more fitting from a presidency perspective. Like this one, I don't know if I like this better than the aforementioned 2 movies, but this one is much more within the spirit of the criteria. 1998's Primary Colors. On your list?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't think you had.
But I saw it out there. Was it good?
2 hours. Yeah, it's number 3 on my list. It's good.
Okay.
2 hour 23 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.7. Rotten Tomatoes 80%. Directed by Mike Nichols, director of Closer, Charlie Wilson's War, The Graduate, starring John Travolta, Emma Thompson, Kathy Bates, and Adrian Lester. It's about a man who joins the political campaign of a smooth operator candidate who's gunning for the presidency of the United States. Let's be honest, folks. If you've seen this movie, it is very much loosely based or not loosely based on Bill Clinton. And that's what this movie's about. John Travolta's doing his best Bill Clinton impression, a lot of Bill Clinton nods in this movie. It does a great job of, I don't know, like not peeking behind the scenes of running for the presidential race, which is interesting, and kind of like that, the imperfections of people. Like I often think of this too as I go, to the doctor or to the dentist or to people of high regard in their profession, and you put them on this pedestal that they're these amazing people,
Flawless.
and they are,
yeah,
and flawless. And that's not fair, probably. Like we're all flawed. Anyway, this one was nominated for two Oscars: Best Supporting Actress and Best Adapted Screenplay. Best Supporting Actress for Kathy Bates. It doesn't. I don't know if it paints the John Travolta character, who's basically again doing his best Bill Clinton impersonation, in the best light, ultimately. But it does it's a good job. It did such a good job that then President Bill Clinton enjoyed the film so much he invited John Travolta to come to a party on the condition that he must come as the character Jack Stanton, who he was playing. Travolta gained 30 pounds for the role.
I'm sure he really regretted, had a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like he does that all the time.
He gained some weight for things. Emma Thompson plays, his wife, basically the Hillary Clinton, very much Hillary Clinton. Folks, check this out. I don't think it's streaming. You might have to pay for it, but worth checking, kind of given the the upcoming election too. It deals with the flawed heroes. And do we accept them as flawed? Like, do you have to? I don't know. And do we hold people should we hold people to a higher standard? Probably, I don't know. It's tough. It deals with a lot of interesting things. That was my number 3. Number 2 for you.
Number 2. So these are the 2 that you think that are actually going to line up?
And I think they're going to line up 100%. Let's do it. Let's
So
talk about these two
okay,
movies.
let's
I
do
know
it.
right away. Let's do it.
All right.
Because I know. Let's
Is
see.
the your number 2 movie from 1995?
Oh my gosh, Care. You've got these backwards.
I struggled.
You've got these backwards.
I
How dare you?
So-
Really?
All right,
So
so,
let's-
Rob,
all right,
I'm gonna do something for you right
let's
now.
let's list it alphabetically, including articles.
Rob, my computer died.
Oh, that's all right. I think I can help. I think I can help you out. Are your movies Dave and the American President?
No,
What?
no, they're not.
What's wrong with
And
you?
now my computer's close to dying. So talk about. I want you to do a thing for me, Rob.
What am
I
I
want
gonna
you
do?
to be funny while I leave to get my charger
I don't know.
and
if I
talk
can-
about your second movie.
I can be funny. I can probably
Okay.
help you because I probably have seen whatever movie you're going to talk about. How do you not have Dave and the American President on your list?
I mean, I don't know. I just
We'll go to our break. Don't worry. I'll save you.
Thank you,
for
Rob.
the other
You're
movie.
such a good husband.
But let's get through these first two because I'll walk you through them.
Okay.
What do you got?
I have the 1995 movie as my second one is The American President.
That's my number one movie. How is that not your number one movie?
It's just what it is. So let's talk through The American President.
All right, it's my number
together.
one, so I'd like to talk about it.
Yeah,
since
you
it's
do
my
that.
number one.
Okay.
1995. IMDb gives it a 6.3, Rotten Tomatoes 90%. Critics even love this movie. Directed by Rob Reiner, fame of Stand by Me fame, Few Good Men,
Oh, I
When
forgot
Harry Met
he did
Sally,
Stand By Me.
Princess Bride. He does all of your heartwarming, like
Yes,
sweet comedies
yes.
that have something to it. But what really puts this one over the top for me, I think, and a lot of listeners probably like this movie as well. Aaron Sorkin wrote the script, and
Why is he so familiar?
he did the Social Network.
Oh, right.
He does great dialogue. He did the recent Steve Jobs movie as well too. He does great dialogue, really like very fast dialogue,
Yeah.
really smart dialogue. Starring Michael Douglas, Annette Bening, Martin Sheen. It's a comedy drama about a widowed U.S. president and a lobbyist who fall in love. So a president who falls in
I
love, a
know.
widowed president who falls in love. Except that sometimes that's not accepted, because you have to kind of keep an image. So is he going for a second term. He's going to be going into an election year for himself. And this love situation happens at the most inopportune time.
I know.
Heartwarming, like, again, I haven't seen this in a while,
Years.
but I don't think I need to. Like, I want it to stick with me in this place where I loved Michael Douglas and Annette Bening. I bought their love.
I was
bought
just
their
going to say
relationship.
that. Why did I believe it so much? Like I
Believed
believed that was like a real life relationship that was happening.
And in the sense where she's uncomfortable, he's the president of the United States. It's not like, and she kind of feels like, and he feels uncomfortable pursuing someone, like he doesn't even know how to do it. And as the
Wait,
president,
are you talking about do it? Like,
oh my gosh,
no, I'm being serious because there was like a scene about that.
there
right?
is a scene. I'm saying he doesn't know how to pursue someone.
Oh, okay,
It's
right.
uncomfortable. Like as a widowed president, how do you get a date?
Well, and
Can you date?
So what? The
Like,
huge
is it
focus
unacceptable?
Of it, well, and that's the thing. Like, the
Have you
huge
run
focus
your
on-
focus groups? Like that's depressing that you need to run your focus groups on something like that.
But doesn't the focus also become like the scrutiny that he gets under? Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
like the fact that he can't be in.
A
That's
human.
sometimes what being in the limelight. The cost of that is like you're not allowed to be a person, and you're not allowed to be flawed. And this is what we're talking about. And actually, it's. I don't want to get on a soapbox here, but very much like what we're dealing with in our like. Gosh, no one is perfect. Some candidates may be more imperfect than others, certainly. But like.
But you're still human.
You got to be
still
yourself.
have- you still have to go on a vacation.
Yeah, you got to go on vacation.
You go on a vacation, and then
I
you're
don't know.
scrutinized
Are
for
you
going on vacation.
Are you entitled to go on vacation?
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
and it's funny, like how the
it's
media
tough.
and what this movie deals with, again, very poignant in today's terms, is how they pick up on every little thing, and how I think it's played by Richard Dreyfuss is the opposing candidate who's going to be running
Yep.
for him in this election year. How it preys on
Yes.
like every little
Every
thing
misstep
is like newsworthy, and
Yep.
it's like spun in such a way where now he's flawed, and like the American people are like,
What
oh
kind
my
of
goodness,
dad?
and now he's dropping in points.
well, because he has a daughter too.
He's a daughter.
So it's like the mix of that. Like, oh, what kind of dad would go out?
So great movie, folks. It is streaming on Prime. There's no excuse.
Oh, let's watch it again.
Nominated for one
Let's watch it
Oscar,
today.
Best Score. Michael J. Fox in this as well too. Kind of sad situation. This was he was very much in Parkinson's. He knew his situation, but he hadn't come forward with it. And he was actually very worried that they had him go through tests like many actors actually do for insurance purposes, to go through these tests to make sure, like healthy wise, that they're going to make it through the movie. And he was actually nervous that his Parkinson's would be discovered and that he wouldn't be allowed to participate in the movie. And he kills it in this as kind of George Stephanopoulos kind of character.
Yes.
Just the advisor for the president. Martin Sheen's in this, who later went on to do West Wing, which was also written by Aaron Sorkin. Robert Redford was cast for the original lead, and I can't see him doing that. There's a little bit of sweetness and comedy that Michael Douglas, and I don't know, like arrogance that I don't know, like something he brings with Annette Bening and her smile. Like I just bought their whole relationship.
I know he was not healthy for a while.
Redford?
No.
Oh, Douglas?
Douglas.
Haven't heard much.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
But yeah, that's why it's my number one and sadly number two for you, which is why you lose.
I don't think I do.
Yeah.
Because wait till you hear my number one.
All right, I will. Oh wait, do I go?
Go to your number two.
So I go to my number two,
and then I'll tell you my number one that you forgot about.
I've already said it. I just self-disclosed it. How do you not have Dave?
I've never seen Dave.
You've never seen Dave? This is your movie.
So
if I was picking,
it's the guy from the House, Kevin Kline. Yeah, Inside Out, right?
House.
Or not
Life is a House.
Life is a House, and then he was also in and Out, right?
In and Out. You've never seen. This is your movie, Care.
What about it is me?
It's a comedy. Our 1993 movie Dave. Hour 50 minutes. IMDb gives it a 6.8. Rotten Tomatoes 94%. It is directed by Ivan Reitman, who's directed Stripes, Ghostbusters, Kindergarten Cop, Twins.
Man.
So like
that is a good lineup.
Traditional comedies, but funny comedies with some sweetness. Starring Kevin Kline, Sigourney Weaver, Frank Langella. Synopsis: to avoid a potentially explosive scandal when the U.S. president goes into a coma, an affable temp agency owner who happens to look exactly like the president goes in and they bring him in to become the president.
Yeah.
It's a fish out of water situation, and he has to fool his wife, the president's wife. It's a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
There's some stretches, but it's like you fall in love with this everyman who becomes the president, and you're like, man, I kind of want him to be president. And he's pulling it off.
Back it up for me. Wait, so
the president goes into a coma secretly, no one knows. After I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
He goes into a coma, and his handlers don't know what to do. They find out that there's this guy who looks a lot like him. It's Kevin Kline playing both roles, but whatever. Let's suspend disbelief for a moment. I've done worse suspensions of disbelief, and they bring him in hey, you gotta be president, man.
Got it.
What do you mean I gotta be president? Well, don't worry, we'll coach you through this. It's easy. Whatever.
So, but the wife knows.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
a little weird.
No, she doesn't. I don't know. I don't want to give anything away about the movie.
Okay.
Although everybody has seen this, I would think, except for you, which is surprising because this is totally your movie.
No, my number one movie is my movie.
Okay. So, I don't know what else to say.
I'll watch it.
What's interesting is this is the second time Kevin Kline has been asked to play two roles and to play someone who looks like the president. He actually manufactured the look of the president in a terrible movie called The Wild Wild West, where he played someone who was posing as the president. He was actually playing the role of the president. So it's not really hard to look like the president when you're actually playing the president as well too. So second time he's done this.
All right.
Movie from this is a little bit of a ripoff of a movie no one knows called Moon Over Parador, starring Richard Dreyfuss, which we just talked about, where he also is an actor who happens to look a lot like the president of some sort of made up country and kind of stands in for him and does a better job as the president. Anyway, very sweet movie, comedy, my number two. What's your number one?
You're going to have to think about what to wreck me. There's so many movies I've missed.
Well, I feel weird wrecking you a movie we've already discussed. So this is something you just need to do on your own time.
My own thing.
You got to do it.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Dave, you'll love it. You'll find it sweet.
Okay.
What's
my
your
number one?
I have no idea.
Not even fully comprehending how this couldn't have fallen on your top 5 list.
What is this?
I'm questioning everything right now. Is the 1996 flick Independence Day?
Oh, no, I took that off my list.
What?
It has nothing to do with the presidency.
Oh, because you mean my fellow Americans, we will not go down without a fight. We will not go quietly into the night.
Yeah,
do you remember the speech?
Does have a great speech.
I get chills even thinking about it right now.
It was a great.
Do you want me to read the speech to you?
No,
I won't do
do
that.
you have it? How can you read this? Did you pull it up on your phone?
I
Your
did.
computer's dead.
I did. I did.
It is a great speech.
It's a great speech,
Yeah.
and he's a main character throughout the entire movie. Bill Pullman.
Probably like if we're doing our top 5 favorite movie presidents.
Yeah.
Up there,
Bill Pullman
maybe.
rocked that.
Maybe he might be out there for me. The top 5.
1996. The aliens are coming, and their goal is to invade and destroy Earth. Fighting superior technology, mankind's best weapon is the will to survive. It's Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, huge cast when you think about it too. I don't know how many came back in the Resurgence one, but Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDonnell, Judd Hirsch, who I love from Taxi, Robert Loggia, and
Still
then
alive.
Randy Quaid.
Judd
Who?
Hirsch.
Yeah,
Still
I know.
alive.
You know who's not though?
Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia passed away.
I'm Robert Loggia.
He passed away last year, actually.
Oh, too soon to make the
Very,
voice.
yeah.
Okay.
Kind of
Inappropriate.
an ass. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Kind of an ass.
it's directed by Roland Emmerich, written by Dean Devlin. I loved this movie.
This is one you can probably see it in our timings too. A lot of these movies hit in that special time frame. That movie in particular is very important to me in in the sense of like it may not, I don't know if it's a great movie, but it'll always be super special to me. And I'm with you. Like I just don't think it doesn't meet my criteria. That's the reason why it's not on my list.
What was your fifth one again?
My fifth one?
What was your fifth
Idiocracy?
movie? It didn't meet
They're running for president of the United States.
No, but what was your fifth movie? Was that Idiocracy?
Idiocracy.
Oh, okay.
And JFK.
Oh, and JFK.
JFK was the one that was the biggest stretch
So
because it dealt with a president's assassination.
So it was less of a stretch than this one. This one was good, man.
I know. I know.
Bit of a miss. So love this movie. If you haven't seen it, which you already have, I'm sure, much like everyone's seen Dave probably, except me, you should watch this movie. And it sounds like see this movie, but not see Resurgence.
It'll just bum me out. So the nice thing about Resurgence, and it's okay to go back to this because you've set me up for it. The nice thing about Resurgence is you get to see maybe where some of these characters are, and it does pay homage to this movie quite a bit.
Can you call back to who's in that one?
So Judd Hirsch is in it.
Judd Hirsch.
Jeff Goldblum.
Bill Pullman?
Bill Pullman is in it.
Okay.
You see some young people from the movie kind of grown up. Not the same characters, not the same people, obviously, which is actually kind of a shame because the president's daughter was someone who is still pretty famous. I'm blanking on her name. Who probably could have played the role, but I kind of know what Hollywood was trying to do, and it's disappointing that they were trying to do that. I'm blanking on her name. I don't know. You have it up right now too.
Wait, who?
Who played the president's daughter? If you can't think of it, don't worry. Missing from the equation, probably what would have driven the box office quite a bit had Will Smith made an appearance. But apparently he had asked for like $50 million to come back for this movie. And it was basically like one of those things where you throw out the biggest number because you think it's going to be crap. And you're like, hey, feel free to call me on my bluff. I'll come back, but pay me $50 million. To be honest, if Will Smith was back in this movie,
yeah,
it probably would have done $50 million more better. So they should have probably thought about that again. He brought such charisma to that first movie.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Goldblum's doing his best thing to try to bring it back but there's just a lot of plot holes and just ridiculousness about the second one and the lack of charisma and like bringing other characters in to try to fill that void, and they just do not do it. But yeah.
I'm going to do something right now.
Okay.
I'm going to do a quote.
Okay.
And if you can tell me who says the quote, I'm going to give you something really nice.
Okay.
Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right.
Oh, so that's the scientist who I can't think of his name.
Think of his name.
Oh,
Try
I'm not
and
going to think
it.
of his name. I can't think of his name. He's got the long hair and
It
the
was
glasses.
going to be $1,000.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you think of his name?
Well, technically, who's saying it is the alien. So, do I win?
So,
do I win?
No.
That's the true story.
No.
He's back in the sequel. And he actually is
his
probably
name is Brent Spiner.
Brent Spiner, darn.
Oh, for $1,000.
And do you know who Brent Spiner is? He plays Data in Star Trek. He just looks unrecognizable with the long hair. But yeah. Anyway.
Interesting.
Good stuff. I think we should probably. Do we need to take a break?
No, I'm ready.
You're good. You're on your phone. You're mobile.
I'm digital.
All right, well, then we won't be taking a break. Honorable mentions to Frost Nixon. I said Air Force One. Lincoln, we talked about. My Fellow Americans. Man of the Year. Have you heard this with Robin Williams, where he's a radio host running for president? I've never heard of this movie.
I saw that, and then but I haven't seen it, and I want to see that.
Oliver Stone's W, about George W. Bush, Want to see that? The
I
Contender.
don't want to see that.
Game Change about Sarah Palin. I'm interested in that. Ides of March. On my list almost, starring
Yeah.
George Clooney and Ryan Gosling. Very similar kind of to the perfection imperfection of a candidate of Primary Colors. I just couldn't. Ides of March is very good, folks. I think it might be streaming. Let's go to the audience. What did the audience feel? Okay, we had some ties. We had a lot of ties for for fourth place. Black Sheep made an appearance. Independence Day, so that you got some feedback there. Lincoln, Primary Colors, All the President's Men. I haven't seen All the President's Men, or it's been a while. Joy V. Hill put Star Wars because it has to deal with some presidential things. Frost Nixon, Idiocracy. Then number 3 on our list, with the most votes gathered for third place, Air Force One. Then Dave in second place. So
If I
I
had
have
seen
some.
it, I would have put it.
And then in first place, any guesses from an audience perspective?
American President.
American President. Lining up with the audience, folks. That's right. That's
my
what
number
I do.
2.
All right, let's randomly select a winner. So what we do for our audience, for those people who write in on our picks and who select their own picks and like our page, we reward those people with the opportunity to possibly win an Amazon movie. So we had 11 people write in. The lucky winner this episode is it's Kathy Clark.
Did she win last week?
She won last week, 2 weeks in a row. Our first back-to-back week winner. Go Kathy.
Nice.
Kathy's going to be getting a free Amazon movie for writing in her pick, which I believe was Idiocracy. We're going to skip our break. Let's go right into our rec segment where we assign each other movies either out of joy and purity, or just to punish the person and make them suffer. So you assign me and you and everyone we know, and I assigned you Before Sunrise. What are you playing? You playing some movies? You bored? We're bored with the podcast?
No.
So me and you and everyone we know. First, I have to know, 2016's Me and You and Everyone We Know. What was your purpose and how did you come across this movie?
So I researched movies that people that watch a lot of movies hadn't seen that were really good.
How did you research that?
I Googled that, like exact phrase.
Great movies that no one has seen?
No, great movies that if you've watched a lot of movies you haven't seen.
So I have not. I had not seen this. Hour 26. IMDb gives it a 7.4. Rotten Tomatoes 81%. Written and directed by Miranda July, starring John Hawkes and Miranda July, as well as a couple other people. Basically, what this movie is: a lonely shoe salesman going through some tough times with his family through a separation with his estranged wife, and he has 2 kids. Along with an eccentric performance artist, struggle to connect in this unique take on contemporary life. This is very much an independent movie, probably made for no money, by Miranda July, and it's super quirky and indie. I don't know a better way to say it. And yeah, the what it's really, I think, trying to say is the difficulty that people have to connect, and it follows different groups. It follows the kids of the shoe salesman. It follows this person, this kind of artist person, starring, that's Miranda July, and the shoe salesman who's just gone through the separation. They're all trying to just deal with life and connecting to people, and they're all bad at, like, everybody's bad at connecting, like truly connecting with people, but they want to connect so badly. They want to feel like someone else understands them.
Right.
This was a tough, I fell asleep during this movie a couple times. Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough watch. And I don't know if I'm better for watching it or not. I certainly wouldn't pay for this movie in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
And I probably wouldn't. I can't recommend this to anybody, even making the time.
I'll do better
for it.
next week. I
No,
promise.
it's not your fault.
Okay.
I appreciate seeing it. I don't know if Miranda July if she's going to make it to the mainstream. At this moment, I don't have any interest to see more of her work at this moment. As an actress, she was actually pretty fun to watch and quirky, very oddball character she was playing, and trying to felt like some connection with the shoe salesman guy, played by John Hawkes. But it was just too weird. It was like an indie version of a movie called I Heart Huckabees. So yeah, I just for my
Skip
people, yeah, I just think skip
That's
it.
fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
What about you? What do you got? What did I make you watch before?
I saw Before Sunrise
Before Sunrise.
several times. I watched
Same
it
same
several
issue
times.
with the sleep.
Same issue, but different reasons.
Okay.
So, Before Sunrise, 1995, a young man and woman meet up on a train in Europe and wind up spending one evening together in Vienna. Unfortunately for them, they both know in that particular night, he's from the United States and then she's from elsewhere.
And they have lives.
Totally separate lives. So they meet up randomly. They both come together to have this one night, and they both know that this is probably their only night together. And so it's Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy. Delpy, sorry. Delpy. It's written and directed by Richard Linklater, who we've talked about before as being just this very, like, guy and a girl walk down a street. And that's, like, the entire movie.
Like, no plot.
There's no plot.
He is the best known plotless director.
Plotless.
Where there is no plot driving.
There's no climax. There's
Right.
no ending. Like, it just... And
it's character studies.
Yes.
Yeah. And life study. Like, yeah.
This one I liked because it was relatable in the sense of, like, now that we're at an age where we're married and we have kids, sometimes you want to go back and look at your life that was 5 to 10 years before to be like, oh yeah, I remember that feeling of. And so that's a movie like this where you look at it and you're like, oh, I remember that feeling of, like, oh, this is a totally random person. Or I mean, not that I had a lot of those, you know,
a lot of randoms,
but like, like it's that you're feeling that fluttering that they're probably feeling of, oh, this totally random person, nice person. Oh, I'm connecting with this person because they're interesting and funny and whatever. But in Richard Linklater fashion, you could fall asleep. I mean, it's
right.
Like, I was in and out. So
What's
watched
interesting
it
about
times.
this is it's been so long since I've seen this, and it's a series of 3 now. So I'll be interested in your take. Like, did you like it enough to want to go and sit through?
You have to watch the next one after it ends because you have to find out. Like, it leaves you with the hook of you need to watch the next one.
But what if? And I'm not. I don't know. I can't remember. What if they never, like, what if nothing is ever resolved? Because nothing is ever resolved in Richard Linklater movies. So I don't know if he, in the third movie, by the time he made the third investment, are things resolved? Would you be satisfied not having it be resolved? Because nothing actually, like you said, nothing happens, right? In the movie.
It's just an evening.
It's
like a
deals
date.
With,
it's a
like,
long
life.
one-day
But
date.
But isn't that life, like, more realistic to life where sometimes there aren't resolutions? And that's what people really end up being fond of with Linklater is like,
it feels very real.
Right. In the sense where, like, all right, well, I guess I got to get back to my life. And, like, this was nice, but, you know, but then you're left with the what if, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what he leaves you with in this, as well as...
it's streaming, right?
It was on
Amazon
Prime.
Yeah.
Yep. And definitely I would like, from, like, both the women and men point of view of looking at this, like... I definitely had feelings when I'm thinking about Ethan Hawke in this movie of, like, you're the guy that, like, if I had encountered you, I would have probably tried to, like, sneak out the bathroom. Like, he wasn't my type.
Oh,
so I was like, I was having the feelings of, like, oh, I would totally be creeped out if he, like,
was he an oversharer or what was
he
his
was
deal?
Just too, it was like too much. It was like he needed to be a little bit more aloof, and he was too aggressive. Like, oh, he was too outward with his feelings right away.
Right.
You gotta
that's
whatever.
Totally me.
I know. Well, you kind of definitely creeped me out too, but it was you. It was you on, like, the first date, but somehow you clung around for a while.
I don't mean to belabor this or to go much further in this because I don't know where we are on a time perspective, but do you remember the movie Before We Go?
Yes.
Or not Before We Go.
Before I Go?
No. What's the movie with Chris Evans?
The trumpet one.
The trumpet player.
Yeah.
Same attempt, right? Same kind of attempt.
Yeah, it was the same.
2 people randomly meet and they spend
Chris
a night.
Evans is a little
Chris
bit
Evans
more
easier on the eyes. I
alluring.
don't know.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke at that age, you didn't find him attractive?
No, his teeth are a little weird.
I want to say it was Before We Go, but that's not the name of the movie. But
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But, like, well done,
Similar.
though, right? But
yeah,
did
I
you
enjoyed
prefer
it
better?
So, long story short, recommend it. I actually really enjoyed it. So, thank you for I actually enjoyed your recommendation.
And you want to see the other two to catch up with these characters. You care enough about these characters where so it's funny you talk about how you didn't like him. What about her? Like, did you like her at all?
No, I didn't like her either. Like, if I was a dude, I would have been creeped out by him. Like, it goes both ways. Like, both of them were not people that I would have dated.
Yeah, it is before we go. I did check.
Nice.
So that's good. So maybe in your future, should I wreck you before sunrise or
No.
whatever the
I'll watch it on my own.
Watch it
What
on your
do you
own time?
have for me this week?
I did finally, after like 3 episodes of not doing this, because I had so many movies that I watched. I saved one for you.
All right.
This movie is available streaming.
Don't tell me too much about it. Just the name.
Called Nerve.
Nerve.
Yeah, recent release, new release. Called
All right.
Nerve.
Nerve.
Yeah,
Is it free?
it is free.
Nice. Like
Actually, you know what, listeners, audience, why don't you guys go watch this movie with Carrie? And that way you guys can see it together and come back with the same feedback. Go check out Nerve.
help me out if I don't watch it.
Yeah,
Tell
exactly.
me your feedback.
If her computer dies, then
So
you can,
I can copy off
you
of
can just
you.
copy your note. She can copy your notes.
And for you, I
do you got?
have, I can't remember the name,
Oh, good.
but that movie that you keep talking about that will make you cry in theaters for a date.
Oh, movie that will make me cry. in
Remember
theaters.
the war one that you keep saying it's going to make me cry?
Hacksaw Ridge.
I'm going to take you to see that.
Oh, guys,
You can get the medium
listeners, let me
popcorn.
tell you, Mel Gibson is back.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever left. I think he's always been a great director. Yeah, he's certainly flawed as a human being. But my goodness,
I'm gonna
if
take
you
you to
have
see
not
that.
seen the trailer for Hacksaw Ridge and know the true story of this person who this is documenting, I am honored and will certainly go.
You can get a
to see
medium
this.
popcorn with butter
Oh, you're
and a
so
small
generous.
cherry Coke
You're so generous.
on me.
Can I get some red vines?
No.
Well, thank you so much, Carrie, and thank you so much to everybody for listening. I want to also thank Fervor for all the music you guys have been listening to. Check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. If you come across our Facebook page, like it. Check out our website, alternatingpod.com. Most importantly, subscribe to our podcast on either iTunes or Google. We are desperate for reviews, folks, on both of those channels. So if you're on there, drop us a review. Give us a star rating, whatever you guys feel is worthy of our show. And most importantly, tune in for our next show. We'll be talking about, just in time for Thanksgiving, our top 5 family movies targeted for release right after Thanksgiving on November 28th. So come back with your own family stories and things like that. We'll come back with our own, and we will catch you then.
I'm still